tutorial will guide you through how to create an online scavenger hunt using Glogster EDU. I am already logged in to my Glogster EDU account and I'm at the dashboard. At the dashboard you'll see any glogs that you've created in the past. You can go back and edit those at any time and share them with your students through using a URL. Before you start your glog, you need to do some pre-work. You need to have prepared the questions or the tasks that you want your students to do, and you need to give some thought to the sites or the resources that your students will be using to get the information for the questions or the tasks. As you will notice, I have several tabs open, one being the Glogster EDU tab, followed by 6 other tabs. These are the 6 tabs that I will use for my online scavenger hunt. So I will toggle back and forth between all of these. So now I'm ready to begin my new glog, so I'm going to click on Create New Glog. These are templates. I'm going to suggest that you stay with the vertical or horizontal template. I'm going to select vertical. It's going to automatically come up with some objects on the page, but you can go ahead and clear out these objects so that you have a clean page. So I'm going to click on this object and hit the garbage can. And this one, clearing all of the objects. And now I have a clear page and I'm ready to begin. Before you begin, it might be a good idea to go ahead and go through the saving process so that you can give your glog a name. So I'm going to click on Save. And this is where I'm going to put the title for my glog. So you have to select a category and a topic. Select the grade level or levels that this would apply to. Leave it as unfinished and click Save. Glogster EDU will automatically save your glog as you're working on it from time to time. When you're ready to go back and work on your glog, you can click on Back to Edit. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to give our glog wall a background. So we're going to click on the plus sign to get our toolbar to show. One of the tools is called the wall. Here you can upload your own images and use one of those, or you can use the gallery or a solid color. I'm going to go to the gallery. These are categories, and if you use the arrow to the right, you'll see other categories. I'm going to open up the space category, and I'm going to browse through my choices. Find the one you want, and you want to keep it at stretch and fill so that it takes up your whole glog wall. This window stays open so that if you want to come back and if you don't like the look of that, you can always come back and change to a different look. So that way you can get the feel of exactly which one that you want. Once you're done, you can close out of that box, and that brings you to your glog wall. To get back to the menu, you simply click the plus sign and the menu comes back. Next, we're going to add a headline or a heading. So I'm going to click on Text and I'm going to do Heading. I'm going to say Use It. Again, it pops it on my glog wall, so I'm going to close this up. And now I'm going to drag my heading to the top and I'm going to stretch it out. When you're ready to edit your heading, now it is stretched out, so when I click on this little tool right here to edit my text, you're going to kind of be covered, but you can see that it's highlighted, so I can begin typing. So I'm going to type in my title. It's kind of big, so again I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to bring my text size down. I'm going to center it and I'm going to change my font color. I'm going to close out of this and I can see that I need to go do a little more tweaking. Let me go get that other fax. Move this out of the way so I can see. Again, I'm going to change my font size and my font color. Now I've got it all the same. Alright, so now I have my title. I'm going to place it where I want it to be. And now I'm ready to start adding my text objects. Again, click on the plus sign to get back to the menu. And we're on text. Now there's different categories that you can pick, different ones. In the paper category, there's a lot of different ones that would work, that would be really good for you to add your questions on. But for mine, I'm going to scroll down because I know they have a space category. I'm going to go and scroll from page to page to see what's available. And I notice that they have this one that kind of looks like the surface of the moon. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say use it. Now this is what I'm going to use, and we'll close this out. This is what I'll be using to actually type in my question. I'm going to resize it because I'm going to need 6 of these on my page. Now, since I have one, I can actually copy this one 6 times. This little icon right here is the copy. So I can copy and place that one. Copy, place that one. And keep going until I get my 6. Now notice that your Glog does stem down, so you can actually pull these down and place them where you need them to be. This would work good because you're going to need to give your students some directions at the top of the page so that place your items so that you do have some area at the top that you can actually put some directions. So these are the areas that we will type our questions. Now you have to have a graphic in order to create the hyperlink for, because on these particular ones, notice that none of the tools are available for a hyperlink. But if I come up here, before I go and get my graphic, let's say that I want these to look a little different. There's 6 questions, but I don't want them all to be the same. I can actually click on those, come right here to my little dropper, and change up the colors. So I can do the same thing for this one. Kind of give it a different look. So now I have all of my text objects a different color. So now I'm going to go and give each one a little graphic that I'm going to actually create my hyperlink for. So again, I'm going to click on my little menu. I'm going to go to graphics this time. Again, there are categories. I could also do this with image, where I could upload one of my images or go to Google and search for an image. But in graphics, you do have categories, so there's a lot to choose from. So I'm going to go to space. And I remember seeing a graphic of the moon. So I'm going to use this one right here. And I'm going to say use it. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to resize it just a little bit. And I'm going to place it to the bottom left of my text object. I'm going to copy this 6 times as well so that I can put one by each one. So I'm going to come here and do. Notice how the tools look a little different for the graphic. And this one does have the hyperlink tool. So that's why we're having to use a graphic to do our hyperlink. So I'm going to make my copies. And now I'm ready to begin with my questions and my hyperlinks. So for my first one, I'm going to click on it. To edit the text, I click on this little tool right here, AB1. And now I can begin typing my first question. I can enlarge my font size by highlighting it and making it a larger size. And I'm going to click out of this text box. And now I have my first question. Remember, the moon is what's going to be my hyperlink. So the moon waxes and wanes. What does this mean? So for this particular one, my students are going to link to BrainPop. They're going to have to log in when they get here using the TPSS BrainPop username and password. This is the URL that goes directly to this activity. So I'm going to make a copy of this URL. I'm going to come back to my Glogster tab, and I'm going to click on my little moon image, and I'm going to use the hyperlink. I'm going to paste my URL, and I'm going to click Done. Then I'm ready to move to my next one. I'm going to edit my text. This is my text object. I type in my second question. Again, do a little formatting. And I'm going to go to my second site up here called Phases of the Moon. This is an image that I want my students to link to. Remember, if you want them to link just to an image and not to a website, you can right-click on the image. And I am in Google Chrome, so I can copy that image URL. I'm going to go back to my Glogster EDU. Click on my second moon, my hyperlink tool, right-click, and paste that URL and click Done. I'm now going to move to the second one, edit my text tool, and type in my third question. So again, I'm going to do my formatting. I'll close that out, click on my moon, and this time it comes from a World Book article. I went to Galileo. I'm going to copy this URL for my students to go directly to that article in World Book. Come back to my Glogster one, make my hyperlink. Then I would continue doing the same thing for 4, 5, and 6. Now, you can also add numbers that will help your students know when they're writing down, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. There's some great numbers available if you click on your menu again. And this time if you go to graphics, and I believe this one is in school. There's some numbers. So I'm going to do a number 1, music, number 2, get all of my numbers out here, and then I can go and place them. I'm going to close that off. And now I'm going to come place number 6 here, 5, 4. So that way my students know which one they're working on. And 1. Now again, remember, because this is yellow, I might choose to change this color to a different one. And now it's real clear for them to see which number they're on and what they're working on. You're also going to need to give a set of directions so that your students know what to do when they get here. So again, I'm going to come up to my menu. This time I'm going to go to text, and I'm going to select paragraph this time. And use it, and notice how it's popped it down here. So I'm going to close this out, drag this up here, and open it up. And this is where I'm going to give my students the set of directions that I want them to do. So I'm going to edit my little text. I'm going to actually bring this down to 12. And my directions are slide this out of the way. Click. Now, of course, this you can see now how I have a scroll bar going, but I could go and change my font size. Let me see if I can make it smaller. And I want to change my font color so it shows up on that black, and I'm going to center it. And so now I have my directions for what my students are going to do when they get here. To click on each moon to find the answer to each question. Write your answers down using pencil and paper. Even though I know it's been auto-saving, I'm just going to do save one more time. If I know that I'm finished, I could change this to unfinished, but you can leave it as, I can change it to finished, but you can leave it as unfinished. You're able to add it either way. So let me do a save. And then I can actually come and preview. So here's what my students will see when they view my Glog. I notice the question, and then as I hover over the moon, these are now hyperlinks. So my students would click on these hyperlinks to be able to go to the sites that I selected for them to get the answer. At any time when you're in the preview mode and you want to go back and work on your Glog, you can go to Edit this Glog. This is the URL that goes directly to your Glog. So you will make a copy of this URL to paste into the Blackboard section of the class to share with your classmates, and then tell how you're going to use this online scavenger hunt with your students. At any time when you come back to the Glogster EDU logo, remember that brings you back to the dashboard. This is where you're going to be able to view any Glogs. Here's the Glog that we just created. So at any time I could click on it to preview it, or I could click on Edit to make any changes to this Glog. That concludes the video. This tutorial video on how to create an online scavenger hunt using Glogster EDU.